Let me ask you a question. Actually, two questions because some of my
Sure.
students who are looking for work, they actually asked
Yep.
me, and I didn't know completely how to answer it. So I have one
Yep.
student. He's currently a building superintendent, and he told me that he had an arrest for something drug related, minor drug
Ah.
related, I believe, but it was 17 years ago. And since
Ah.
then, he's been completely clean. And he was asking me, is that going to affect his ability to get a building engineer job? So, from your perspective, you've been a chief engineer, you've been a property manager. How would you answer that question?
From interviews that I've conducted, either with other people or myself alone, I've never asked that question.
Hmm.
I mean, it really, I mean, you know, that kind of would matter if it was like an extreme crime or something like that. But uh, I wouldn't, I personally wouldn't have a problem with it. It wasn't like an extreme crime. If it was something that was just a mistake when they were younger or, screwed up a couple of times, I wouldn't have a problem with it.
Okay.
But the way HR works is they have a criteria. So if 4 points on that criteria add up to a non-hire, even though the person's completely qualified, they they won't hire them. You know what
So,
I'm saying? But what you find in the service industry is, yeah, when I was in the service industry, over 20 years ago, driving a van, doing service, most of the guys I worked with were clearly not. I can't prejudge, but yes, I can, because later I found out, yeah, some of the one guy was like a heroin addict, and he wound up stealing the van and doing like all crazy stuff, that like drug addicts do.
mhm,
Um, so there's a lot of those people in the industry, especially on the service side. I'm not going to say everybody, but
yeah,
I've seen that. Now, in buildings, do I know anyone that was like did any kind of? It's possible. I've never really asked anybody I worked with. I mean,
mhm.
anything's possible. It definitely doesn't help.
It doesn't
I
help.
mean, the way I personally look at it, a crime that happened 17 years ago, it wasn't really detrimental to anybody but themselves,
Yes.
for being arrested for a stupid thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take issue with it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
You know.
the way I'm looking at it, because my background has always been on the commercial building side, commercial and industrial, and it wasn't
Hmm.
really on the service side until recently that I started to investigate that. So even with like the training aspect, some of the people who go to like a Apex or TCI, um, I'm not gonna say they're all criminals, but I've heard that some of the people they're pulling in are some people who have had troubled backgrounds.
Right. Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
could. I went to Apex, so I could definitely say that, because I mean, I went there because it was one of the most popular, and the training was very limited back then. Most of it was like almost like father and son business. Almost how electricians operate or all the other trades.
yeah,
Um, so there wasn't as big of a demand. I mean, it spiked, I guess, the demand in some years, but the reason for that is because a lot of these people are are prompted there, and their school is paid for by the local government,
yeah,
the city or state. It says, look, we don't want you in the jail. We think you're good outside, but you have to finish the school, and then hopefully get a job. We want to make you a better person.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's probably the main population in the service industry. And I'm sure a lot of those people have turned out good, because it's a good
Oh
paying
yeah,
job. Um, I'm sure for others it probably hasn't worked, like the handful of people I witnessed when I was in service, that just were off the rails.
yeah, yeah. It's a weird deal because with the service industry, people are essentially unsupervised, and you're having
Right.
access. It could be to someone's residence, it could be to someone's business. So you want to be very careful with who you're sending into those areas as well. Now,
Extremely sensitive. Yeah.
yeah, and especially on the commercial side, most of the commercial buildings, well, the higher end ones, like it's even difficult for me to get in to go on field trips. So, it's you're dealing with the guts of a building, and I try to explain this to people. Here's another aspect. Let's forget about someone having a past criminal record. The issue that I try to stress to young people, because that's really who I'm concerned with, is the current status with the people doing marijuana. It seems like so many young people are just attracted to just smoking
It's just very common. It's very common. That's
Yeah.
why.
No.
Now, when it comes to like a commercial building where they're hiring a building engineer, you know, they have a very standard procedure. They have a private investigating company do a background search on you. You sign off on it. I don't know what happens with those details. I don't know how they look that up. You know, it's probably through a lot of different sources, or one that channels out to other things and then comes back with the information that they decide on. So it's difficult. I mean, like I said, someone like that has a better shot at just doing service, I would think. They're kind of condemned to that one thing because there's that vacuum we spoke about, you know. And then, all right, yeah, there's probably very qualified people, but there's something missing there that, you know, you don't want to send somebody into someone's home or things like that with, you know. That's a very difficult situation.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Yes. Now, on the commercial side, I think we because I know we spoke at length before about us possibly setting something up where we would actually give people hands-on experience. How much experience do you, in your experience, look for when you're doing some type of hire for, let's say, engineer?
I would, at the very least, now where I work at the council, the salary's not that high. The benefits are fantastic. You know, you get every Friday, medical's pretty good. You get a lot of days off. It's a very supportive atmosphere. But the salary for a building engineer it's negotiable, but it's not on the higher end. It's probably like $40,000, $50,000.
Okay.
But the benefits make up. It all depends on what the person's looking for. Now, what I'm looking for in a person, if I were to have to hire one of my guys left tomorrow and I have to hire somebody, I want somebody with service experience. Yeah, I had it. I think I'm a good. I just got promoted last week, by the way.
Oh, congratulations!
To assistant director. So, yeah, I think my experience has helped me. So yeah, would I want somebody with a little outside service experience? Yeah, someone with at least like 2 to 4 years, even more than that. I mean, when I was at 60 Hudson Street, I was like, I wanted to hire guys that had field experience, and I came across 2 guys. One guy worked for I forget the name, Nelson Air. He worked for Nelson Air for many years, like 12 years or something. And I'm like, this guy's got his license for like 3 years. He just couldn't find a job in a commercial building. He's like, oh, I went on a few interviews here and there, and couldn't just find a job for whatever reason. I don't know if he probably didn't have a criminal background check, but I hired him. He was great. He could have done my job. He was that good. He only stayed for a year and then left. Another building hired him. You know, he was that good. No one gave him a shot. I hired another guy who was after him, who was in service, but no one ever gave him a shot. He wasn't as good. He had some personality problems. So you get all kinds. You get a whole mixed bag.